So we're on that walking path from Angel Lake to Des Moines Harbor. I'm just going to show you this section because this section's very pretty. It's got the little creek down there. And then this is the bike walking trail. And real quick, I just want to do this blog update, and I want to talk about how socialism is spreading throughout the West, whether it's Europe, where socialism is spreading, Canada, Australia, United States. You know, socialism is spreading, and the reason why, one of the main reasons, is because of astronomical housing costs. Astronomical housing costs, in my opinion, are making socialism's spread in the West. You know, which cities in the West are the most radical left-wing cities? San Francisco, London, Amsterdam, let's name some others, maybe Sydney, Toronto, Vancouver, Seattle, LA, San Francisco, New York. Those are like the most radical left-wing cities in the West. And all of those cities have something in common. The housing costs are astronomical. The rents are astronomical. It costs a fortune to get an apartment. It costs $1 million to get a small house. And when you do that, when you make the houses $1 million with zone restrictions and massive out-of-control immigration, what then happens for the young people that can't afford those houses? They become Bernie Sanders supporters. Literally, that's what we saw here in America. You know, we saw all these millions and millions of young people supporting Bernie Sanders, and the reason why they supported Bernie Sanders, a lot of it is because they're poor. You know, they're making $30,000, $40,000 a year, they're living with their parents, they can't afford a house because the houses are $1 million, and they're so poor, they have no vested stake in the capitalist system. So they turn socialist, thinking socialism is going to give them free stuff, thinking Bernie's going to give them a free college degree. Well, yeah, Bernie might give you a free degree, but then once you get that degree, it's going to be worth a lot less value because everybody else is going to have that degree too. All your friends are going to have that degree. And as a result, the employer is going to pay you a lot less money as that degree becomes the new high school diploma, and your employer cuts your wage drastically, and you lose like $1 million through your lifetime. So you'll get the degree free, you'll save $50,000 in student loan debt, and then you'll make $1 million less over your career for the next 50 years. Meaning the rich elites, the corporations, the CEOs, they're going to make that million. And then you are going to make $1 million less, and they're going to make $1 million more. And when they're doing that to millions of people, just imagine all the billions and trillions of dollars the ultra rich will make off that system, where they give you a free college education, pretending that you're getting ahead in life because you got your degree free, and then the next thing you know, you're making $20,000 less per year because you're competing with thousands of other people with that free degree, and then you make $1 million less in your lifetime, and then the rich people get that million extra. And then they do it for everybody else as well, all the other millions of people with the free degrees. Just think about all the money they're going to make. Trillions of dollars is what the wealthy elites will make. It will collapse the middle class will collapse. The wealthy elites will make all that money. And that's exactly what it's going to do. And then the high house prices, that's leading to socialism because, you know, these Bernie supporters, you know, they're living in their parents' basement, and it's like they have no vested stake in the system. They're never going to buy a house because the prices are too high, and then they turn socialist. I'm going to go home right now and show you some pictures on the internet of houses in middle America where it's still conservative, and the prices where it's still conservative. And then I'm going to show you the liberal leftist cities that are turning socialist because the housing costs are astronomical. And why do the socialists in these cities want the housing prices to be astronomical? Because then they can get reelected again and again by promising people rent control, promising people more housing programs, promising people more socialist programs. And then those liberal, leftist, Democrat, socialists, they just get reelected again and again and again and again in these big cities, as they basically are promising their people in the city that they're going to get free stuff if they vote for them. You know, they'll get discount housing, they'll get free social programs if they vote for them, and then they become politicians for life, where they just keep getting reelected over and over and over again. They just keep getting reelected again and again and again. And you see these politicians, especially the Democrats, in these socialist cities and these socialist states like California, that they've just been in office for like decades. They've just been in office for years and years, decades, because that's their career. Their career is by being the socialist politician and then getting the people in the state or that city to vote for them again and again and again by promising them free stuff. It's just so sick. And then as they do this socialist takedown of our country, they're making house prices more and more high in more and more cities. And then those cities flip to socialist cities. I've actually seen this happen to like middle America cities like Denver, where it used to be affordable and conservative, and now it's becoming ultra expensive in Denver, and it's going socialist. And the same thing in Portland. Portland's another example. Portland used to be like moderate, and it used to be dirt cheap. Portland was a paradise. You could go there, get a job working 30 hours a week. You could just ride your bike throughout the city. You work 30 hours a week, you get a one-bedroom apartment for $500 a month. Portland was a paradise like 10 years ago. Now it's this ultra leftist city with socialists everywhere. And then at the same time, the prices are astronomical. See, the astronomical prices make people more left-wing. It makes people more socialist. And then the city flips as a socialist city. And then some of the people get priced out, so they leave. And if they're leftist, and they leave, and they go to, like, say, Texas, or they go to Salt Lake City, or they go to Anchorage, and they're leftist, and they leave, you know what they do? They then flip those places into socialist hellholes. And then their house prices skyrocket as they do rent control, and as they do all these restrictions on zoning restrictions. And then the socialist politicians, they support mass immigration. So these cities, they do zone restrictions that limit the supply of new houses, and then they have massive out-of-control immigration into those cities, because most of the immigration goes into those left-wing socialist cities, and then they have a massive housing crisis, and that housing crisis causes the prices to go higher and higher, which then creates a negative feedback loop where then it just creates more socialism. And then the politicians get even more left-wing. They promise even more socialism. And then the people vote even more for the left-wing socialist politicians. And it's just a huge negative cycle. And the only way to break that cycle is by making housing affordable. And the only way to do that is to cut immigration. We got to cut immigration 50%. And we also got to stop the zone restrictions. We got to eliminate the zone restrictions. We got to eliminate the zone restrictions. We got to build houses like crazy all over the place. Build, 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 build. And if we build millions and millions of new housing units per year, and at the same time, we're just building millions of housing units, and then we deport several million criminal illegals, and then we also build the wall, and we cut immigration 50%, then that will stop the flood of immigration into these cities. We got to cut H-1B visa immigration by 50% as well. That will stop the flood of H-1B visa immigrants into these cities, and then the prices will start to stabilize, and the prices will go down. And if we don't do that, if we continue massive immigration, out-of-control immigration, and we continue to zone restrictions, more and more cities are going to become like San Francisco. More and more cities are going to become like Seattle. They're going to become ultra expensive, and then you're going to get these radical left-wing groups like Antifa. You're going to get these radical young people that are turned socialist because they feel like they can't buy $1 million house, and they're living in their parents' basement, and their parents live in $1 million house, and they're living in their parents' basement, and they can't get ahead in life, and then they turn radically left-wing and socialist. And the only way to stop it is by building tons and tons of houses like they do in Middle America, real America, keeping the prices affordable so people can afford it, and then at the same time stopping the mass immigration so we can stabilize the population and stabilize housing prices. And I'm going to show you some examples in just a minute.